Hello everyone. This is a bit of an interesting video today because it's not really so much a tutorial as a how it's made type of video, showing you how I made this big, fluffy, fuzzy Chirithy plush. The first step to any plushie is the pattern. So I made a pattern with just the most basic parts. And then I went back afterwards and made separate little patterns for all the accents. And I used fuzzy stuff, this clamp for the bag, some fleece, and satin for the cape and purse, and then some iron-on heat and bond and interfacing to add little touches and details. And you will see the background changes a little bit because we are cutting everything out on this big old rotary mat. And thankfully, since we have a cutting mat, we can just use a rotary cutter to cut everything out and we don't need to trace things. If you are attending Colossalcon, you can see them in person. And for all of the details, I either used fleece or satin. And for the main body, it's actually a sort of minky-like material, but it's more like the fleecy throw stuff that you would buy. It actually is a blanket, which is how I'm purchasing this material, because I found it was just a lot better than any of the minky and stuff that I saw. So I'm using that, and you can see I made a little stripe pattern for all of Chirithy's, I can't talk, all of Chirithy's tail stripes, and the face stripes are going to be triangular versions of these. And then we also have, of course, the cute little mittens that Chirithy has, making sure I have enough pieces to go on the front of the body and the head and on the back of the body and the head. You'll also see this pattern piece, which I did not show before, which is for the belly, and it's got that little tab to wrap underneath the belly so it doesn't just abruptly end. And that looks a little bit like a submarine to me. And here's some of the fluffy fabric I'm talking about. It's very soft, and although there are two different sides to it, it's incredibly hard to tell which side is which. So I tried to keep everything the same side, but there were a few pieces that just in folding them and laying them out, they ended up on the other side, but you can't tell unless you're like really going in there and feeling the fabric and not touching anything else to confuse your fingers. It was a real process trying to figure this out. And I actually found the face was sort of what I was referring to as the wrong side of the fabric because it was less fluffy. But this was necessary for the face because it had all those applique details and it was much harder to sew them and get a clean line on the fuzzy pieces than it was on the less fuzzy side. So that's the reasoning behind that. As you can see, the nose had to be hand sewn because of all the little fiddly pieces, but otherwise the rest of the plush is machine sewn with a zigzag stitch to ensure it is not coming apart. The stitches are very close together. On the ears, you can see everything is sewn inside out and then opened up and sewn in, so there are no seams showing. And the front pieces are identical to the back pieces in terms of shapes. And you can see here we have our little snout, and all the pieces of fleece when they first got pinned on, they looked very choppy and a little bit messy, but that zigzag stitch really helped to hold everything down and make a clean line. If I had used a regular stitch, the edges would have still been up and it wouldn't feel like it was one continuous piece so much as two separate pieces. So doing a really tight together zigzag stitch really makes a difference for that. And I used the same stitch throughout the whole plushie. Actually had no idea when I was kind of thinking up the project and designing it that there would be quite this many appliques. So if you don't like doing appliques, certain plushies like cats and critters with stripes and mittens might not be the project for you. but I was willing to take on the endeavor because I love Chirthy. I think he's so cute, and I really hate that an official Chirithy plush doesn't really exist at a reasonable price, and that laying down like Tsum Tsum looking one that they're selling now is really small, I think, and just not worth it. I don't like spending like $20 to $40 on a small plush just because it's a licensed product, whereas with this design, this Chirithy is like, well, I'll put in the final measurements here, but based on the pattern so far, it's like 12 to 15 inches tall and considerably better fabric than a commercial plush. So I don't know, I just don't like buying into the brand over the product. So I felt like it was really necessary to come up with a design for a new big Chirithy plush. Something I was also really excited to implement with this Chirithy is a removable cape, although I'm not sure if the first one had a removable cape. I wanted to make sure this one did. And also, I wanted the purse to have a little actual purse clasp, so you could open it up. You could store little goodies in there, just cute things. If you're carrying your Chirithy around at a con or something, you can keep your stuff in there. And I just felt like Chirithy should be a buddy that is cute and practical, that you can take around with you and put stuff in his little coin purse. I've never held the real Chirithy plush, so I'm not entirely sure how they do the top of the cape with the collar that goes around. So my best guess was the interfacing that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, which gives it shape without too much bulk, since this is satin. I also made sure it was a washable one, so all of these pieces can be hand washed, and I really tried to do my best with the fine details on this plush and making sure it was as cuddly and sweet and true to the actual design of Chirithy as possible. So, with all that being said, I want to show you guys the final plush and want you guys to see how cute Chirithy is. I just love Chirithy. Also, me adding to the voiceover the next day, I wanted to say I have made one of these for now that I will be taking to Colossalcon, along with a few of my other crafts, such as the bell bag and the Sora doll. And I will have little coin pouches based on the Chirithy's bag from this pattern. But for the Chirithy doll itself, I will only have the one for now. But I am working on adjusting the pattern, making it a little bigger, a little better. And I'm hoping to have a few of these Chirithys for sale online at a later date. So, if you're interested in that, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more crafty content. I'm going to do a lot more fun stuff as the summer goes on. I have some vlogs and things coming very soon, some trips, some cosplay stuff, a lot of really fun stuff. So, if you want to see that, stay tuned and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!